All right, Georgie, you're up. She comes from Anchorage, Alaska. She's going to tell you all about it.
He worked his hands till they're sore, a net he mended more than once before, a legacy he weaves for his family on the shore. Praying waters didn't roar quite like before. Come home safely if he can. Their fisherman. And oh, he's a fisherman, father on the water. His life's work in his hands, in his only daughter. And his grown son, the only ones to carry on his fishing song. The world changes with the tides, a fisherman's great pride, a different kind of wisdom that he shares. And you won't find it if you look. It's in the ocean song he took. They listen close to the words that he gives to his fishing kids. And oh, he's a fisherman, father on the water. His life's work in his hands, in any weather, family together. Forever storms rage on, forever salmon spawn to his fishing song. This too lives on. Thank you. My name's Georgie Heaverley. I grew up on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. Grew up in a commercial fishing family. My dad has fished in Alaska for 54 years now. We drift gillnet for salmon in Cook Inlet, and it's not easy commercial fishing in Cook Inlet. We're located near the urban center of Alaska, and with that comes a lot of competing fishing interests and groups with a lot of money and a lot of power. And we just came out of a Board of Fish cycle, and we've never been more restricted in the history of our fishery. But I will never stop fighting for us and give the message that we have to start working together to find a balance between our fishing user groups, because if we don't, there won't be salmon for Alaska's future generations. So this poem is called Do Things Right. Thank you. We call Alaska home, all fishers alike. And I have to say that when we do things just right, our proud state thrives and is the joy of the nation, because everyone recognizes the strongest foundation that Alaskans make up. We set the blue and gold standard. So let's not fail now. And please hear my words, because someday we'll have grandkids, and then they'll have them too. And I wish with all of my heart that they get to go through strong fishing seasons on clean-powered vessels, and the river and salmon were still just as special as they were when we lived in these critical days where we must manage this run in a science-based way to protect our salmon and thus our way of life, because Alaska's our home and we must do things right. I wrote this poem for my buddies that I used to fish with in Cook Inlet. They fish in Bristol Bay now, and I really miss them. This is called Brothers in Salmon. The start of their journey, captains boundless at sea, surrounded, antiquated, weathered men of the fleet. Tales shared and repented, these legends did charge, ripping salmon from nets, tides, swells, rolling large. Fishing boats many decades, ever slowing with time, as their odyssey fades to preserve and enshrine deep ancestral roots of historical kind. A mission falls on the young. Ancient souls recognize that a torch must be passed, gnarled hand to one soft, with vitality, energy, zest and zeal which were sought. Within modern assembly of the youth of the fleet stands a girl with her father, timeless oceans concrete. Frightened one, ever trying, womanhood at the cusp, climbing ladders courageous, seeking honor amongst, outnumbered by those, testosterone enterprise, giving soul in her spirit, but fight to not tyrannize. She composes within, ink and paper she sees, though it little and feeble, yields to immensity. Colossal depth of salt waters, augment time, clockwork tides. She discovers her brothers to confess and confide. Her brothers in salmon, sharing reflective light from father's antecedent and generations past sight. One boat named for a mother, a grandmother before, an homage to the women and the duty they wore. Therefore, kindness and friendship teach not with reprimand. The girl grows with each salmon that she holds in her hands, that will callous and gnarl as the veteran others, just as hands of grown men, those of her salmon brothers. A family that you choose, a gill net society, and she'll keep them in heart and in humanity. With confidence in a vessel she stands upon with her father, that could someday be hers, passed to his salmon daughter, to continue a living that some curse under breath, but it is primal and ancient. It is life, it is death. And she'll stand with her brothers and the life that they choose, her ink and her paper and her words to infuse, with the substance of friendship upon waters demanding, of an eternal epoch and the phantoms commanding, that the ghosts of their fathers that will whisper and warn of what is yet left to come, of the oath they had sworn. But young sisters and brothers within salmon and salt will not waver in choice, their own words to impart on future salmon siblings that will take on their torch, whose own hands will gnarl, their own souls left to scorch. And she'll forgive her fathers that surrender this choice. It's her own nautical sentence, consequently her voice. But if she falls in her passage, jumping bow to slick dock, inexperienced hands, bowline square clove hitch knots, brothers pick her back up with hands yet left to age, and they'll place her on deck on her diamond plate stage. But in turn, so will she if their own hands start shaking. From boyhood, adolescence, old timers in the making. So to brothers and salmon, she's eternally grateful, for they carry her forward when her feet are unable. Thank you. I want to say hello to my family that's listening over the radio in Alaska, but a very special hello to my one-year-old niece Sylvia, who's in Soldotna, Alaska. She is going to be my future deckhand and a third-generation Cook Inlet commercial fisherman someday. So this next poem I wrote about fish scales. It's called Scales in My Hair. When the opener's done, with the relief it brings, in the bright midnight sun comes my favorite thing. When the fish we unload are all weighed and sorted, before we drive the dirt road, our tired selves transported. When the fish hold is clean and I've washed down the deck, and the swift river teems past our wound up gill net. When the dishes are dry after they have been rinsed, coffee flung to the sky because it was brewed midday since. Before the beer is dug out in the ice of the cooler and the skiff is about to be our homeward chauffeur. Before the permit card swipes and we get the fish ticket and the gnarly men gripe and tell them where to stick it. After brailer bags hang over the side of our vessel, after the engine's last rang comes a time extra special. When I walk out on deck and pull my rain gear off, my hair falls down my neck, outspill strawberry locks that are tangled and matted and bleached from sun rays. They're mangled and ratted, not washed in 4 days. And as I comb through the clutter, out falls a cascade of bits all aflutter, a vibrant parade. Sequined iridescence captured in the light. Green-blue accented, they gleam ever bright. It's a sparkling token of a good day's hard work. The salmon have spoken with these colorful words. And I continue to shake until every last bit I can't quite locate, so to fatigue I submit. And I straighten my back, satisfied with routine. A maritime soundtrack in my mind does ring. Because scales in your hair serve as a reminder of what the ocean will share and the beauty inside her. This poem is called The Saving of the Fleet. Their hair is all graying. The drift fleet needs saving, but it won't be me. It's all that I'm saying. I have this college degree. I'm taking off. I'll flee to the lower 48 and find a new industry. I know I'm born and raised with Cook Inlet and Gaze, and the salt and the breeze in my skin is emblazed. But I can't take on this task. Will the run even last? I won't inherit this boat or this permit, in fact. Your hair once was black. You sure developed a knack. As a hardworking fisherman, diesel fumes at your back. Your hands sure are scarred up, and your joints are all marred up. You're getting up there, old man, and your features have hardened. I won't let that happen to me. I won't marry the sea. How unpredictable a living could be placed upon me. I'm firm in my decision. Don't try to alter my vision, my youth and my purpose finally on collision. Your voice won't work on me. I'm not saving this fleet. You'll have to find someone else to answer your plea. So he turns in defeat. Salted soul, tired feet, a boat and a permit, a graying old fleet. There, I think with resolve, I won't be involved in this plan to take over so the fleet won't dissolve. I'll walk away from that life and I'll take that big flight out of Alaska. What's expected, right? But a different voice soon calls out, gentle now and no doubt. It's ringing and singing a melody that's en route. She calls out to me with her blues and her greens and reminds me of the joy that I found on the sea. And my heart starts to skip as I remember those trips and the diamond aluminum that my boots firmly gripped and the smell of the inlet, the taste of freedom within it, the privilege of harvest. Feel that reel when you spin it. My muscles do burn, and at times my guts turn when the growl and the vengeance of her waters we'd learn. And my hands sure do ache, gazing at the white wake as we head back in the river to unload what we've raked. Yeah, the hours are rough, and I'm sore from the stuff that makes or breaks fishermen rugged and tough. Is it worth it in the end? There's an industry to defend. The world does need feeding, and now I can't comprehend why I'd give this up now. Port, starboard, and bow, and the sweat and the salt that forms on my brow. Why can't I do my part? The sea pumps through my heart, and my blood and my brain and my soul in the dark of the depths of her waters. I'm the fisherman's daughter. And with that comes a pride that I won't ever let falter. I'll take these summer days, open-handed and brave, and I'll bring in the salmon, and the fleet I'll help save. What's being handed to me is the gift of the sea, and I'll honor, respect her with all that I'll be. I'll work tirelessly to save this industry, because that would bring happiness and fulfillment to me. Because their hair is all graying, the drift fleet needs saving, so let's take that challenge. And that's all that I'm saying. Thank you very much.
Okay, so hi. What's your name?
My name's Don Pugh. This is Kim Sayers.
Kim Sayers.
Okay, and where are you from, Don?
Snohomish, Washington.
Is this, and we're not going to ask you any questions unless if you want. Okay, so what brings you here?
I'm a fisher poet who came down here to perform, tell lies.
Oh, so you're a performer?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I'm a storyteller, although John Broderick, who's the granddaddy of this whole thing, always encourages us to try poetry. So last night I tried one. You want to hear it?
Yes, absolutely.
Granted, I'm not a poet, so this is like new ground for me. Roses are red, sockeyes are red. Poetry's hard. Oh, hell with it. Let's just go fish.
Great.
And then, of course, I bow. And then I go on to telling stories because that's what I do.
Well, how does it feel to be with a poet?
Oh, it's entertaining, yes, to say the least.
Have you any highlights for you? I mean, aside from obviously seeing his performance.
Oh, today, just seeing the sights of Astoria, really love the waterfront. Went down and had some razor clams, and yes, we love it here.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I can cut that out if you want.
Okay, great.
But you did great.
Thank you.
Well, are you performing tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, when and where?
I'll be at the Voodoo at 9:15. Last night I was at the Liberty, which was being broadcast on KMUN. And of course, you know, I have sometimes a little bit colorful language. And then I realized halfway through that it was being broadcast. So I apologized by using profanity. So I'm not sure how I ended up or whether I'll ever be asked back. But it was fun. We always have fun down here. Well, thank you.
All right.
You
Pleasure
bet.
to meet you. Thanks.
Bye. Enjoy the sun while it's here.